character input processing based on this input operator, which is called formatted input, because SYN knows that play count is integer and will be able to populate it correctly. However, if the user enters incorrect integer format that doesn't look like an integer, this input will fail, and we can verify it by simply adding this condition. We can add while with the checking condition of the result of this input. Okay, so this is new loop, and it's just based on the input from the user. As long as the input from the user is correct, this loop will continue, because this expression will return a true value as long as this is correct, correctly entered by the user. So then we can indent the rest of the code and place it inside the loop. Now, because I want to maintain a consistency in the way we return, and to eliminate this extra line of printing new line, we can just add a break statement instead of the return, and just exit the loop when the play count is 0 or less than 1. So then we'll just print this new line and exit the program right here. So the break statement takes you out of the loop and transfers control to the line beyond the closing brace of our loop. So now we have two nested loops, two while loops, that allow us to first get input continuously, and secondly play multiple times, printing these messages on the screen. Now, what I also would like to notice that we're printing this prompt on top of the loop, so it's very likely if we run this program, the first time it will print this output before getting user input from the keyboard right here. But the second time, if we continue looping, it's not going to display the prompt. So let's verify this. So we likely need to change our user interface a little bit. So the first time, this line is printed, and now we're waiting for input to give us an integer. So I'll enter an integer like I did before, 3, and you see that it's looking just a little bit confusing, because it just printed these messages as expected, and then it went right back to get input for our next play count, but it didn't print anything. So it just looks a little strange, almost even like the program is hanging and not going back to the correct input. So if I enter 4, for example, the game continues, and 5 and 6, right? But there is no correct user interaction. It's a little confusing. So let's just press Ctrl Z, which will close the input string, and exit the program, because if I press Ctrl Z and hit enter, the character input device is closed, and therefore, once again, this does not succeed, and we exit out of this loop. Now on your Linux console, it will be Control D, right? D is in Delta, but on Windows, the control character that closes the input is Control Z. Alright, so this prompt needs to occur a couple of times. What I feel not very comfortable is just like copying and pasting this multiple times, because this is, whatever I print is sort of like the data, and I would like to define it once. So instead of doing this, I will define, I can use standard string, and this string can be a constant string, because I'm not going to change this, and say times to play prompt. Okay, so and then I can initialize it with this text, Okay, and so instead of copying and pasting text multiple times, now I can use this prompt variable, which is a constant string. It's nice improvement, so now it's good. And also notice that we need, after completion of the ping pong messages, because they're all printed on the same line, I would like to add an extra new line in front of this output. Okay, and then we can get our next prompt. It could be also nice maybe to print a little bit of a like, you know, a line like this to separate the next play from the previous play. Let's take a look how this new version of the program looks like. So I'm just going to close this window and rebuild. And the thing is that to use the string, we need to include the string header. So typically get something like this, something missing before this, and it's just or missing type specifier. These types of messages indicate that, and when you click on this, it just puts you right on the spot that this something wrong with this, and you need this include statement to be able to bring the string into the scope. So this is a part of the standard library. You can see that string is very simply defined. So this time, hopefully, everything's okay. Yeah, there's another missing semicolon somewhere. Oh, because I misspelled the const. Okay, so this is yet another issue here. Okay, build, very good. Okay, so let's run this again. And so once again, we'll try 3 times. Again, notice that I'm a little bit short on the number of outputs. I think the user would be expecting like 3 times of ping pong outputs, but I'm going to fix it in our next version of the program. I'm aware of this issue. So let's type something else like this, like this, like this. You can see that it's functioning with this problem. And if we press 0, as we recommend to the user, the program exits. So this looks fine, and this is the version of the ping pong game, which is using 2 nested loops, and the entire logic of the program is nested inside the main function.